As you heard, my name is Adam Rodricks, and it is a damn honor to be here with each and every one of you, okay? We're gonna talk about the next 10, but I hope you'll indulge me for a quick, hot minute. I talk about the last 10, okay? So what happened 10 years ago? As always, with every good story, there was a girl, right? What good story in history doesn't start with there was a girl? There was a girl, and we were texting profusely. We were textually involved, if you will, okay? But this isn't like 2023 where I got the iPhone 15 Pro. No. I got the iPhone 5C with a screen crack. But I still text her back right away because it's all about momentum, and we're going back and forth and back and forth. And I remember like it was yesterday because I was not far from here. I was at Bay in Adelaide. I was crossing south, and I was having that momentous talk. And all of a sudden, as I'm about to cross the street, I feel this jerk in the back of my neck. And I turn around quite appalled to see what the hell happened. And as I'm about to tell the person off who yanked at me, a giant semi-truck comes whizzing through the intersection where I probably would have been had that person not intervened. So now I turn back around and I'm about to apologize profusely. And that person just looks me dead in the face and they say, you know, you really need to pay attention to where you're going. And I gotta be honest with you, I'm here today because in my life, I've never really known where I was going. That story tells you about what can go wrong when you don't know where you're going. Now let me tell you what else can happen when you don't know where you're going. In order to do this, though, I got to wind the clock back to 2007. How many people remember 2007? I love the one confident. I remember 2007. I was there in 2007. Okay, for everybody else who's not lying, sir, Allie, whoever else who's not lying, let me remind you of where we were at in 2007, okay? 2007, my hair did not look like this. It was permanently in the faux hawk. That's where I lived, the faux hawk all day. I loved it. We got to bring that back. Number two, I don't actually have a look at either of these companies' balance sheets, but I know it was a record profit year for Maybelline and Sephora. Why? Because in 2007, it was the year that we realized everybody would buy eyeliner. It didn't matter, man, woman, child, teen angst, even better, you bought eyeliner. And then finally, in 2007, fashion was relegated to your torso and your pantaloons. You had choice up here and down here. But when it came to your foot, ain't nothing but the Croc, baby. Nothing but the Croc. The Croc lives on. Bring back the Croc, too. So that's a little bit of where we were on a macro scale in 2007. Let me tell you where I was in 2007. I was in my undergrad at University of Toronto, and spoiler alert, I wasn't very good at school, if you maybe didn't get that from the beginning and not being able to cross the street. So I wasn't very good, but I was on the brink of graduation, and I told myself, listen, if I'm ever going to get hired, I got to pad the stats. I got to do some extracurriculars. I got to do some other stuff. I got to make some conexiones, right? I think that's what they call them down in Costa Rica. I got to do whatever I can to make myself as attractive to prospective employers. And when I wasn't just breaking my back on campus, I would throw myself into two of my life's passions. The first, as Reggie kindly said, my first passion in life is writing. I'm a published author, and that's why. And my second passion in life is indicated by a little Italian plumber with a mustache and a red hat. Does anybody want to guess what my second passion in life is? Just shout it out if you know it. Thank you. I heard several. I think somebody said shut up. I don't know. I'm feeling attacked now, but it's gaming. Thank you so much. And it wasn't enough for me to simply write about, the games because everybody else was doing that. They were doing the ratings and the reviews, but my brand wanted to zig when everybody else zagged. That's what I wanted to do. So I started to lean into my authenticity, which, as many Canadians would say, in 2007, in my undergrad, I was broke ass. And I had a blog. So I didn't have a lot of money. So I decided to lean into that and write about which few games were worth Canadian dollars. That was my authentic self, and that's what I brought online. I told you what to buy, and similarly, I told you what to stay away from because it wasn't going to be worth your time. And it's amazing because when you steer people right, especially with their money, they start to trust you. And as a result of that, I saw my monthly active readers go from 5,000 one month to 10,000 the next month, to 15,000 the next month, to, oh my God, someone sent me a literal check in the mail for advertising. This is amazing, right? And I mean, if the gray hairs didn't date me, in 2007, online advertising revenue, like I wasn't even learning this in my upper year marketing classes, and here I was doing it out of my side hustle. So as I said, for the second time tonight, I was broke ass. So I appreciated every dollar and cents that was deposited into my bank account, so much so that I would positively strut to the mailbox to extract that check on Fridays. I'm not kidding. I had a whole strut. It looked good too. And I would go, and I remember there was this one fateful fall Friday. I went in and I extracted that check, but a check didn't fall out. It was a letter. And this is so stupid, but this is a safe, Reggie, this is a safe environment? Can I tell you what actually? Okay. So what happened was I read that letter, or rather I saw that letter. I went, oh my God, this is my first brush with fan mail. It's finally happening. You know what? I don't even know if I'll have time to respond. There's probably so many coming. Canada Post is going to drop off another truck any minute now. Maybe I'll just take a quick gander and see if it's worth me responding to. And I opened it up and I started to read it, and something dawned on me. It was not, in fact, fan mail. It was something called, forgive my French, a cease and desist. Yes, thank you for I'm not dead inside. Thank you for laughing at my misfortune. But for anybody who's uninitiated, and I hope you stay uninitiated with that term, a cease and desist is, of course, a big, scary, lawyer-written note that, quite frankly, says, stop doing the thing. Stop doing the thing immediately. And as always, it is stipulated with a ton of dollars and cents. And for the third time, I will remind you tonight, I did not have all those dollars and cents because I was broke ass. And so I read that, and it was the only time in my life that I willfully put the muzzle on. I said, you know what? I'm trying to get a job. This was supposed to be some side money for me. What have I done? Here I was trying to build up the resume. Maybe I've done this to my detriment. Maybe I'm not even employable anymore. This is going to be a disaster. And for the next 3 months when the phone rang, I was on eggshells. Because this was 2007, right? 2007. I had a landline phone that I shared with my entire Indian family. And let me tell you something. If there had been an authority figure on the phone when my very Indian father had picked it up, he would have turned around and calmly explained to me the error of my ways, because that's what all South Asian parents do, and that's how they communicate with their children, right? And nothing happens after 3 months, and I'm thinking I'm in the clear. And then in that 4th month, the phone rang, and someone said, hey, is this Adam, the video game guy? And I said, oh man, this is it. Just take me, just lock me up, right? And he said, well, I'm not actually calling from any type of law enforcement. I'm a recruiter. And we found your portfolio. I said, what portfolio? He said, well, your blog, or at least the remnants of it. And it demonstrates a consistent approach to content strategy that we can't do. We have a problem with community internally, and we think that you might be able to come in and solve this. And this is not the way jobs went, or at least not the way I was told in 2007. In 2007, I was told you apply for the job, then they tell you politely you didn't get the job. That's how I thought this was supposed to go, right? And here they are approaching me and telling me that my portfolio may have actually opened a door. And so I come into that company, and they talk to me a little bit about the siloed communication they have. And I used a podcast with a tenet of marketing that I think a lot of companies still miss to this day. We as brands, if you represent a brand, your own hustle, maybe you're an entrepreneur, we are not the hero in anybody but our own eyes. In our customers, in our clients' eyes, they themselves are the hero, and we as brands are merely guides to solutions. So I used this as an opportunity to put the shine back on the people at the stores, to come in and talk about what was working, and as importantly, what was not working, right? Because transparency was how I built my brand, by telling everybody that I was broke ass. And in 1 year, because we had put the microphone to those people transparently, there was a lineup to come on that podcast. We had to launch an adjacent message board just so that all the voices were heard. I busted into the CEO's office. I said, I think I have proof of case. He said, yes. I said, then let me flip the script. He said, what does that mean? I said, what we've done internally, I want to do externally. Let me start a Twitter account. And he looked at me. He was a very smart man. And he was like, Adam, Twitter is the cesspool of the internet. If we start a Twitter account, people are going to come to us and they're just going to flame us. They're going to lock their caps and they're never going to unlock them. This is going to go badly for us from the beginning. And I agreed with him. He was a very smart man, very astute. And I said, maybe, if we use conversation, we can take customers who are 10 out of 10 mad and try to save their business by acknowledging what we've done wrong. Once again, transparency in business. And I'm very lucky that that CEO was as customer-centric then as I was and am now, because he greenlit that project, and in doing so, he made me the first full dedicated resource to social media in the company's history. It's a title I've gone on, and I'm very privileged to have had at a number of different Canadian companies. And so that's a little bit about how, where I didn't know where I was going, it could have gone very, very bad in the middle of Bay and Adelaide, where I'd probably still be on the pavement. But also, it can take you down some beautiful, nonlinear career pathing that has changed my world. So to that, I say, when it comes to limitless, the goal should never be to limit your challenges. The goal should always be to challenge your limits. Thank you very much for your time today.